Measures to provide adequate housing in impoverished areas is an issue both prominent in both LEDCs and MEDCs. Adequate housing meaning up to a certain standard and criteria. Impoverished meaning person or area that is poor. According to the OHCHR, the human right to adequate housing is more than just 4 walls and a roof. It is the right of every man, woman, youth, and child to gain and sustain a safe and secure home and community in which to live in peace and dignity. This issue is still prominent around the world because of some factors like natural disasters and conflict. What qualifies as adequate housing? A house should have a good measure of security in order to protect themselves from harassment and other threats. Another factor that creates adequate housing is affordability, which should be taken into account because of other basic necessities that cost money, for example, food, water, transportation, and education. Secondly, a house should be habitable and comfortable. It should provide protection from cold, heat, rain, wind, and disease vectors. Lastly, housing should have a good location. For example, some things that should be taken into consideration when choosing locations for houses is education opportunities and health care. Some examples of houses that are not sufficient are areas in slums, which in Brazil called favelas, which is a term used in Brazil to describe a poor slum or area. Legally adequate housing should not be able to evict the homeowner, which is a reason why people resort to poor areas. Why does it matter if people do not have adequate housing? Adequate housing is a human right not limited to any race, gender, or age. It is recognized in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the International Convention on Social and Economical Cultural Rights. Adequate housing is important for safe and a secure future. The reason for inadequate housing is affordability, constant natural disasters, and location. Housing prices vary on location, which makes it hard for a single homeowner to afford a house, thus resulting in overcrowded houses, which have safety and health risks. Safety should be able to protect people from harassment and harm. Some inadequate houses are closer to employment opportunities, schools, and health centers, which are a reason for overpopulation in slums. Another factor that plays a role in inadequate housing is legal rights. For example, eviction. During the 2016 Summer Olympics in Rio, people were forcefully evicted out of their homes to make room for the stadium. Lastly, a factor that is the root of the issue is crime and uneducation, which are connected to housing. Crime has increased over the years because of people not attending school, which is why it is relating to housing. Unemployment leads to inadequate housing. Another reason the problem can arise is because of constant natural disasters. Before natural disasters, houses are already made out of weak materials that cannot withstand natural disasters, for example, wood. In Sri Lanka, 2004, the tsunami had wiped out most of the housing. Another example of a natural disaster is the Kathmandu earthquake, which reached a magnitude of 4.7. The aftermath of the earthquake left most people without proper housing. 1.6 billion people live without adequate shelter. 1 in 7 people on this planet currently live in a slum. 1 in every 4 people will live in a slum by 2030, according to current estimates. And 1 in 3 urban residents live in slums in developing countries. In some countries, as much as 90% of urban population live in slums. Most countries are not sufficient to support the residents with adequate housing despite past acts and treaties, which is why it is up to you to make a resolution to put an end to this issue.